books, poetry, speaking to persons of different minds also. And he also gave many public talks. But at the same time, he understood that he needed a real revolutionary to start like a real mission. Like he was quite tightly situated within the existing structure of societies, working for the British government. He had a large family of his own as well. There was only so much he could do to really create like a movement. He started like preparing the ground, but he prayed to the Lord. He prayed to Vishnu, please send me one of your own men to really create a movement here, to really move things forward. And then as a result of his prayer, his own son came as this very powerful, great, enlightened soul who from a very early age, there are stories of him when he was like 6 years old, showing this very staunch mood of devotion. And so it was his son, Saraswati Thakur, who became this great revolutionary, great visionary. He was a great spiritual visionary, and who understood, how to really create a movement, and how to, because according to time, place, and circumstance, we may have to make different adjustments, right? The essential teachings are still there. The essence of the message is there, but, spiritual practice may need to take on slightly different forms according to the society and the age. And so Saraswati Thakur, the son of Bhakti Vinod, he was a visionary of that type. And so he established this mission, Gaudiya Math, and ultimately established 64 centers throughout India, also sent missionaries to England, to Germany, and was always talking about going to America, but never quite made it. But it was because of that unfulfilled wish that Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, went to America. So it was because of that unfulfilled wish that in 1969, Swami Maharaj Prabhupada went to America in 1969 to try and bring his guru's message to the Western world. Right? So it all started originally with Bhakti Vinod, and then his son picked that up and created this whole-scale movement, that ultimately spread all over the world. I forget what your original question was, but did that answer your question? Yes, it did. Okay. Okay, what did you ask? I was asking if Prabhupada was the disciple of... Right. Yes, that's right. And so Prabhupada, Swami Maharaj, was also a close godbrother with Srila Sridhar Maharaj. They had a very close friendship. And the one in the Yes, who's the founder of our mission. That's right. And Prabhupada, in fact, looked to Srila Sridhar Maharaj as what we call a shiksha guru, like an instructing guru. And he would, because actually Prabhupada, he never had so much time with his guru. In the time of his guru's mission, the Gaudiya Math, he was a householder. He had family, he had a business, pharmaceutical business, right? And it's mentioned sometimes he only had about 10 days of association with his guru. But on the other hand, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he was very active in the mission as a sannyasi, and he preached all over India and had some close association with their guru. And so in later years, after Prabhupada took sannyas, he turned to Srila Sridhar Maharaj for advice, guidance, insight. We have many recordings actually from the 80s when, no, not from the 80s because Prabhupada left 77. But yeah, from like 76, 77, something like that. We have some recordings of their conversations. No, even 73, we have some recordings. I think that's the earliest, from 1973, when Prabhupada opened the main temple in Mayapur, Bengal. And they had very close connection, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj was very, very supportive of Prabhupada, even when other godbrothers were not so supportive. But Sridhar Maharaj gave him some very important support that helped him even establish his mission in India. So they had a close... Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. The opening of the Mayapur temple. Oh yeah, where is that? That's the one. Oh yeah, it's a small one. Yeah, there, yeah. Above Tulasi. Yeah, so that's at the opening of the temple in Bengal, Mayapur, 1970. Our Gurudev was there. Srila Govinda Maharaj, he's also there as a young man. He's on the floor. So yes, it is all like one family, and the more that you hear about the history, you understand, it is all one family, So Srila Maharaj was born in a devotional family. Well, yes and no. I mean, in India, everyone's devotional. I still remember when we were in India, I think it was last year. No, I think it was the first year we went. And was it Anjali, one of the young girls from America? She asked me when we got to Vrindavan, so are there lots of devotees here? And I said, Anjali, everybody's a devotee here. There's just different types of devotees. We're used to saying that in the West, right? Oh, are they a devotee? Or they're a devotee? No, in India, everybody's a devotee. But just different types of devotees. Actually, Srila Sridhar Maharaj's family, especially his father, they were very against the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His father, I think his father was like a Smarta Brahmin, right? A completely different conception, focused very much on ritual and Brahminical practices. And for them, because see, one of the things about Mahaprabhu's movement is that he rejects the caste system, right? The whole social system of India, Mahaprabhu rejects that. And then he's also promoting this ideal of the prema dharma, the religion of divine love. So, and so it's kind of like open for everyone, which is a wonderful thing. But then on the other hand, it also means that it can look quite wishy-washy to some people. Like, oh, they don't have any like real rules or real philosophy. They just like to sing and dance, and they talk about love, like, come on, or like they'd say things like, yeah, the people who can't get a job, they go and join Mahaprabhu's group. Some people would say things like that, and then the thing is, there were a lot of people who took advantage of the free mood of Mahaprabhu's message, and they would have very low practices, for example, like smoking ganja while chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and things like that, and so then like the educated persons in society or respectable persons in society, they looked down on Mahaprabhu's followers. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj's father was one of those people. He didn't appreciate the followers of Mahaprabhu, and he was against his son joining. So I think his mother might have been a little more sympathetic. I don't remember exactly. I think she was more sympathetic. So yeah, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he did have a little hesitation in the beginning, but then he was like, when he was associating with the mission for about a year, and then he described this one meeting he had where his heart was completely captured. They had a week-long Gaur Purnima, right, for the appearance of Mahaprabhu festival in Mayapur, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj had stayed there. And then it was at the end of the festival, 7 days, everyone's going home, and people are going and like giving their dandavat to Saraswati Thakur and saying goodbye, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj was watching this from a little bit of a distance, and then he overheard his guru to be, Saraswati Thakur, saying to everyone assembled there, "Don't cheat me, don't cheat me." And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was very surprised to hear that, and he said, why is he saying that? Everyone came for the festival, now it's the end of the festival, and they're going home. And so where is the question of cheating? So Srila Sridhar Maharaj went closer to listen more. And then he heard him saying, you all came here and you made a promise that you will serve Krishna. But now you are going to go home, back to your lives, and you're going to forget everything. You're going to forget about Krishna. You're going to forget about your service to Krishna. And so this is a type of cheating. And he said, and you can say to me, oh, I just have to go and put out a fire and I will come back. But I will say to you, even if the whole world is on fire, nothing is more important than this, that all of your needs will be met by this, by your Krishna Anushilana and your cultivation of Krishna consciousness. And so when Srila Sridhar Maharaj heard that, his heart was completely captured. And he thought, nowhere in this world will I find anyone who has so much earnestness for the service of Krishna, for Krishna. And so he thought, I must throw my head here. I must put my head here. Because there was also some taboo, because, normally in India there's the tradition, you won't take initiation from someone of a lower caste. So that was one hesitation Srila Sridhar Maharaj had, because Saraswati Thakur was actually from a lower caste. Srila Sridhar Maharaj was from a very high Brahminical class. Because even within the Brahmins, there are different levels, right? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was, I think, the highest. And it was Bhattacharya, right? Bhattacharya Brahmins are called. So like very high level Brahmin family. And Srila Saraswati Thakur, it was not even a Brahmin, he was from called Kayasta, who are sometimes considered, in some parts of India, they're considered low caste, quite low caste. And so, there was some societal taboo around that, taking initiation from someone like that. And so for that, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj knew there was going to be some backlash from society. But ultimately he understood he had to forget all of that, And Saraswati Thakur was so pleased, actually. And of course he was pleased because of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's inner qualities, but he also appreciated that someone of such high social standing was joining their mission, because he knew this would give some strength to their mission. And he actually chanted in Bhagavad Gita, there's one verse that's saying that the common people follow the ways of great men, right? They follow the example that is set by great men. And so when Srila Sridhar Maharaj came to take initiation, Saraswati Thakur chanted that verse, because he thought, oh, someone like this of such high social rank is coming to join our mission. So the common people, they will be inspired by this, and they will have less hesitation in coming, to join our mission. So yeah, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and there were also a few others. There was a Bhakti Saranga Goswami who came from these very high social backgrounds, and they could give support to the mission in different ways and help in certain times of trouble. And so yeah, a little bit of the history.
The mission expanded quite a bit at that time.
Yes.
It's very inspiring.
Yes, yeah.
On that point, can I ask a question? Because in my head, when he originally came away from the Gaudiya mosque, and there was a bit of disturbance after.
Srila Sridhar Maharaj.
Srila Sridhar Maharaj after Siddhanta Saraswati had
yes.
Disappeared. And he was living in the hut in the Ganges, or wherever it was, I don't know. But that flag, he rose a flag. There was some slow cloud that was on it, like, you know?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, what was that? It was going to be preempting what was to be.
That's right, yeah. Well, yeah, what happened was, so Saraswati Thakur left the world. It was 31st of December, 1936, that he left. But he had not left any clear line of succession. And so there was a lot of confusion, as to how things would go on. And originally, and some persons wanted Srila Sridhar Maharaj to take a leading role. And we can also add that there was that incident 24 hours before Saraswati Thakur left, right, you've heard this story, right, he was asking different disciples to sing different songs. And he asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj to sing this particular song, Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, right, which is considered to be the most sacred song of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas in the line of Rupa Goswami. And so everyone, when they witnessed that, they were very impressed. And many could understand Saraswati Thakur was indicating that his line will continue through Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And so, many of them, they actually asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj to take a position, as the Acharya. But he really did not want that position. And he instead nominated a close friend and godbrother of his, who was also a leading member, very brilliant. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj backed him. However, things went wonky, let's say, with that godbrother, and he would not reform himself. And so then things just became a mess, and there were in particular two groups who were opposing each other. One of them whom Srila Sridhar Maharaj had nominated originally, but he went skewy. And then there was another group. And things were getting very messy. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj decided to withdraw quietly. And that was like maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years after Saraswati Thakur left, something like that, right?
He stayed for some time.
He stayed for some time, yeah.
He didn't want to leave when he was so, but a little bit later.
Yeah, he said he didn't want to be seen as a coward, right? So he didn't leave right away, but maybe when things calmed down a little bit or something, then he withdrew. And he originally went to Vrindavan during the month of Kartik. And he was in a deep mood of prayer, like how should I go forward? He composed his commentary on the Sharanagati at that time, the Lagu Chandrika Bhashya, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's songbook on Sharanagati, Surrender. Srila Sridhar Maharaj wrote a commentary on that, which we now very fortunately have in English. And he was in this mood of prayer, where should I stay? How should I go forward? And he was in particular thinking of these three options. One was to stay in Vrindavan. Then another was to stay in Jagannath Puri. And then another consideration was Navadvip. And eventually, in his humility, he felt Navadvip is the place of the fallen souls. There's the land of mercy. And so it is appropriate I go to stay in Navadvip. And he also took permission from Nityananda Prabhu, right, in Ekachakra. And Nityananda also gave him that instruction. He had that inspiration from Nityananda. You have to give your mercy, because he was praying to Nityananda for mercy. But Nityananda responded, you're asking for mercy, but you're not giving mercy to others. You're going to hide away, but you have so much wealth within that you've received from your guru. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he decided, humbly, that he didn't want to go out and canvass for people, but he thought if people come to me for shelter, then I will give them shelter. And so then he settled in Navadvip, and he was a little bit in hiding. And we hear some of his godbrothers were searching him out, and eventually they found him after some time. But yeah, so then finally he came to establish this mission of Shri Chaitanya Saraswati. It was 1941. Now I'm remembering, like end of 1941, that he acquired this plot of land. One of his godbrothers, Saki Charan, he gave the donation for that. End of 1941. Then it was around this time, actually, it was Ratha Yatra 1942, that he officially opened his mission, which was just a small little hut on the banks of the Ganges. And yes, and he was also, we can also add, he was also working on Prapana Jivanamritam, which is also discussing the principles of surrender. So that book is that's like our Mat book. That's like our missions book, you could say, Prapana Jivanamrita. And then he also composed this verse at that time, he'd received that order from Nityananda to spread the mercy of his Guru and Mahaprabhu, and now he's acquired this place. And he also selected the location in a very precise way. Aparad Banjam Pat, which is known as a place of great mercy. Navadvip is already known as a place of mercy, but this specific location within Navadvip is a place where Mahaprabhu had given the most extreme mercy to the most fallen persons. Aparad Banjam Pat, the place where all offenses are forgiven. So he selected that place. That area is also known as Gupta Govardhan, right? Because every area of Navadvip is said to correspond with an area of Vrindavan. And so that area specifically corresponds with Govardhan, right? Which is specifically the place that has been expressed by our gurus as the place of our aspiration. Rupa Goswami has discussed this in his writings. Saraswati Thakur expressed this also. And so Govardhan has been identified, and that's a whole other conversation, right? But Govardhan has been identified as our place, and the place that we aspire for. And so that area of Navadvip, Kulia, it is known also as Kulia, and Koladvip, right? Koladvip, the island of Koladvip, within the 9 islands of Navadvip. That island is known as Koladvip. So that is hidden Govardhan. And then he wrote this verse, Srimad Chaitanya Saraswati Matavada Udgita Kirti Jayasham Vibrat Sambati Ganga Tata Nikata Navadvipa Kolaji Rajye Yatra Shigor Saraswata Matanyarata Gorgata Grananti Nityam Rupanuga Kritamati Guru Guranga Radhajitasha. So this verse is describing, how this mat, it is shining on the banks of the Ganges, and it is holding aloft this victory flag. It's a little curious because, as you said, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was foretelling the future glory of this mat, because at that time it was this very simple thatched hut. And he also purchased this expensive bamboo, which to us, like, what do you mean expensive bamboo? Like, it doesn't sound very impressive, but it was impressive, at that time. And can you close? Oh, okay. So as you said, he in this verse, he's foretelling the future glory of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, and so it's saying how there's this victory flag that is shining, and the glory of this mat, and it also says Matavada means the best of all mats, right? It is the best of all mats. And this victory flag, Jaya Shri, it is announcing this glory and spreading this glory, very widely. And this mat is situated on the banks of the Ganges, is shining on the banks of the Ganges within Koladvip, right, which is Gupta Govardhan, hidden Govardhan. Very profoundly, the glories of this mat are very profoundly being announced by this victory flag. Vibrat Sambati Ganga Tatanikata Koladvip, so shining on the banks of the Ganges within Koladvip, Gupta Govardhan. Then what do the people do there in this glorious mat of all mats? Yatra Shigor Saraswata Matin Nirata Gorgata Grananti. They're the followers, the members of that mat. They are in the line. We were discussing this the other day in the Gaura Saraswati song, right? Yacha Shi Gaura Saraswati. They are in the line of Gaura Saraswati, right? So that, they're followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but specifically the conception of Mahaprabhu as given by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, right? That, because it's a jungle, right? So many different ideas of who Mahaprabhu is and what his message is, but we're specifically, the members of this mission are specifically cultivating that message, that understanding, that conception as given, as seen through the lens of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then what do? Goragata Gurnanti means they're singing, they're very busy singing the glories of Gauranga, singing the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Nityam Rupanuga Kritamati Guru Gauranga Radhaji Tasha. They're also followers of Sri Rupa, right? Sri Rupa Goswami, who is the dearmost chosen successor of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And so that understanding of Mahaprabhu and his message as given by Rupa Goswami, because Mahaprabhu actually did not put his message into writing himself, right? But he empowered Rup Sanatan to do that. And so also in the line of Sri Rupa, and also Raghunath, that is also, can also be included there, Rupa and Raghunath. Guru Gauranga Radhaji Tasha. Asha means aspiration, hope. So they are carrying on with their joyful lives of service with the aspiration, right? Holding this aspiration, very, very particular aspiration of service to Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda, as given by, as we said, Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and their group. So that in a simple way, that is that verse that Srila Sridhar Maharaj wrote. So he wrote this like big shloka, and he raised this big flag. And in fact, his godbrother Saki Charan, he's the one. He was very friendly. He didn't mean any harm, but he thought it was quite funny, because he was laughing, he was chuckling about it. He's the one who gave the money for the land. So he was a well-wisher. But he also was quite incredulous. Like, what is Sridhar Maharaj thinking? He's written this big fancy shloka about how great his mat is and saying it's the best mat of all mats, like, what is this? And meanwhile, he has, a little thatched hut, like, what is he thinking? And then, so that was like 1942. Our Gurudev came in 47, a few years later, and it was still a very simple affair. And our Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he also had some friendship with all the godbrothers of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And so this Saki Charan, like, even kind of joked with our Gurudev about this shloka and everything. And our Gurudev went and told Srila Sridhar Maharaj, oh, Saki Charan's laughing about this. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj told our Gurudev, if he is alive in the future, he will see. He will see. And then it was through the energy of our Gurudev that the mat expanded and became this very glorious mission in India and ultimately spread around the world. Right? So it is quite a curious thing, because there was one side of Srila Sridhar Maharaj which really did not want things to get big. And even in later years, we hear he was quite alarmed when he saw like these extra buildings going up and all the Westerners coming in. And in the beginning, he refused to give initiation, actually. In the beginning to Indians also, but then he accepted Indians eventually. But then in the 80s, actually he gave to my mother. Now, she came very early, 1981. And then there was another British devotee he gave initiation to. She was the first, Western disciple,
Was the first.
Yeah, she was the first. Yeah. Yeah, so because she came very early. She got some advantage because she was in Goswami Maharaj's temple in America. So she had like early access. So he'd given to 2 Westerners early on, and then David Sheesh told me, like, then there was this whole group that came later, and that was maybe 83, 84 that the group started coming, and And Devashi said, no, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he felt like, oh, I already gave to two, like that's enough, And so he really didn't want, But it was our Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, that he was feeling this compassion, for the Westerners. Prabhupada, Swami Maharaj had left the world, and, they were all all the members of ISKCON were like young children, they lost their father, and they don't know how to go on, And so our Gurudev appealed to Srila Sridhar Maharaj that you please, give shelter to them. And our Gurudev said, I will take responsibility. Because Srila Sridhar Maharaj also said, I'm not going to be here much longer. Who will take care of them? So our Gurudev promised, I'll take responsibility. I'll take care of them. So, but it's an interesting thing because you see this one side where Srila Sridhar Maharaj was very reluctant to expand things. He also, in the beginning, he didn't even have them stay in the mott, but they called it the land of nectar, maybe like a mile down the road. There was an encampment, they all stayed there. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj's original idea was that they would keep a little separate and come to him for advice, right? So we hear of this whole aspect, but then at the same time, when you look at that shloka, then you understand, he knew it was going to grow, he knew it was going to expand. And there was another side of him that appreciated that, for the sake of Mahaprabhu's mission and the glory of Mahaprabhu's mission and his Guru Maharaj's mission, he also appreciated that, But yes, it's nice to remember that verse, right? And to try to understand more deeply what this mission stands for, right? And why we are here and what we are cultivating. It's 1:20. Maybe Sita should take some prasada.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything to that, Tim?
Actually, I was thinking that Guru Maharaj, for the service of, because Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati asked him to go to London, right? Initially, and it was not ready at that time. He was said that he won't be very successful. But later, for the service of his guru, he wanted that mission also in London, right? He said if somebody can, if they can do, a mission in London, that will be his service to the guru. So in that way, he accepted.
Any other questions and comments from anybody? Gurudev also wrote, you might want to look, Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj also wrote an expanded translation of that, because Srila Sridhar Maharaj wrote it originally in Sanskrit, and then our Gurudev made a Bengali translation, but like an expanded translation, which is developing upon the original verse, elaborating on the inner meaning. It would be nice to read, actually. It's on our website. You can read that. What did you say? Oh, SCS Mott.com. Mott, M-A-T-H. SCS Math, but Mott. SCSmott.com. This. Don't know where we can find it. I don't know where to find it. I can't remember where it is. We made some posters in Navadip before. Here it is. This is the English translation of the Bengali translation that our Gurudev wrote. Yeah, I can send you the link. Yeah. In the holy abode of, I'll share you the link. Or why don't I send it to you and then you can put it in your group here. Then everybody can in your limerick group. Oh. Okay. What happened? Okay. In the holy abode, you found it. You got, yeah. In the holy abode of transcendental touchstone, Sri Navadip Dham, the self-same Sri Vrindavan in the land of Koladweep, whose inner identity is the king of mountains, Sri Govardhan, near the charming shores of the holy river Bhagirati. It's another name for the Ganga, right? Bhagirati. Who delivers all the fallen souls, stands that grand and glorious king of all temples, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat. In that beautiful retreat, the surrendered devotees whose lives are the message of Sri Gora are eternally absorbed in the loving service of the Divine Master, the Golden Lord Gauranga, and the loving Lord Sri Govinda Sundar, and his consort, Srimati Gandharva, accompanied by all their beloved associates. With hearts always filled with good hope to attain the grace of the Lord, following faithfully in the line of Sri Sri Rupa and Raghunath, the storekeepers of the unlimited treasure of pure, sweet love divine, those surrendered souls ever sing the unending glories of the transcendental name and qualities of the most magnanimous, original Supreme Lord, Sri Sri Gauranga Sundar. Indeed, the hearts of all beings, moving and still, marvel in the glory of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat as they take shelter in the soothing, affectionate shade of the victory flag that flies aloft and sings wholeheartedly to the world the ever-expanding renown of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat. Bearing that banner of all transcendental benedictions, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat ever shines resplendent in all its divine magnificence. Do we have arti now, or what is the? Okay. Do you want to call the pujari? Do you have a pujari? Okay. Till Thursday. Yeah, till Thursday.
You'll be flying out on Thursday.
Yes, on Thursday, yeah. That's right. Okay, okay. Then do you want to sing, Prabhu?
Yeah. What? Anything particular?
You wanted to sing something, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah, then sing that. Yeah. Welcome, Krishnandini.
146. Avatara Sada Gura Avatara
Avatara Sada Gauraya Avatara
Nabajita
Keno Nabajilitare
Murinira Bhakta Kirana Piyata
Odinira Basa Gelana Kiyasa
Yakaramati
Apana Karama Fede
Avatara Sada Gura Avatara
Avatara Sada Gauraya Avatara
Nabajita
Keno Nabajilitare Antagera Tadu Sadai Sabili Mana Amrita Babadayashe Kapataru Shigorangaya Mara Avade Pavishe Avatara Sada Gauraya Avatara Keno Nabajilitare Toda Berayashe Palasha Shunkiliman Nasa Jepashilokita Sudanda Bhavi Kata Chushilimana Kemone Pai Dimita Avatara Sada Gauraya Avatara Keno Nabajilitare Adabaliya Golaya Padile Mana Sadhana Kinkara Sapa Talabaliya Guna Pohali Mana Paili Bajada Tapa Avatara Sada Gauraya Avatara Keno Nabajilitare Samsara Bajili Shri Gauranga Bolili Nasunili Sadhukata Iha Parakala Dukaya Koyali Mana Kailiya Panamata Avatara Sada Gauraya Avatara Keno Nabajilitare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol. And you are Pujari Ji for today? So we're waiting for Pujari. Okay, then I'll sing Hari Harai. You can sing. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
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 Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Thank you.
See you soon. Yeah. Giridhari Gopinata Madana Mohana.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Radha Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Radha Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha.
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Rasa Raghunatha.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Rasa Raghunatha.
He Chai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Jai Gosai Gauri Charana Vandana.
Jaha Hoite Vignana Shabisha Purana.
Jaya Hoite Vignana Shabisha Purana.
He Chai Gosai Jai Muita Dasa.
Jai Gosai Jai Taradasa.
Tansa Bada Pada Renu Mura Panchagrasa.
Samara Padare Mura Panchagrasa.
Tadera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanebasa.
Madhura Charana Siddhi Bhakta Sanebasa.
Janame Moho E Abhilasha.
Janame Janame Mora Eya Vilasa.
Echai Gosai Jabe Braja Koilo Basa.
Jai Gosai Jai Bhakti Kalabasa.
Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Kodila Prakasha.
Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Kodila Prakasha.
Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana.
Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padhe Majai Amana.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padhe Majai Amana.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kadihasha.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padhe Padma Kadihasha.
Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Dasa.
Nam Sankirtana Koi Narottama Dasa.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Rama
Turn these off. Do you know how to do that?
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna